Hey friends, so welcome to DBC Live. We are streaming from Facebook and YouTube, and we are so excited that you're here today. Michael Cohen, the author of Educated by Design, will be joining us in just a few minutes, and we just cannot wait to learn from him, to hear from him. But while you are joining in, remember, this is a great way to win free books. Yeah, every time you join this free PD, we actually give away stuff for free. I mean, what more could you want from a business, right? So the way to win those free books is simply to tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do over in the comments. Let us know a little something about you. Shoot, what was good today? Tell us something that happened that just made your day, that made you smile, maybe this week or yesterday or something that's coming up this weekend. Let us know who you are out in the comments. We'd love to see who's here, but we also, every single comment that is over in the comment section from now until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning actually is invited to be, actually is in a drawing to win a free book, Educated by Design. So we are really honored to have Michael on the show with us. We cannot wait to learn from him, to hear from him. And Michael, yeah, he not only is he my, oh gosh, Michael, you do so many incredible things. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I know he's my DBC Inc. brother. He wrote an incredible book. He's an educator that travels and speaks and challenges us to think in new, innovative ways. But I'll let you formally introduce yourself, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Well, I'm just excited to have a conversation with you. I think we used to connect a lot more when it was in person, and the pandemic has kind of made everybody a little bit all over the place.
Yeah.
But really grateful to be here and with the greater DBC community. My name is Michael Cohen. I'm known as the Tech Rabbi, and I am an educator. I'm also a designer, and I like to think of myself as a creativity instigator. I like that terminology. It's something that creativity is something I'm really passionate about, because people look at me as someone that is creative because I have this quote unquote tech creative background, right? I was a trained artist and designer. I had art shows and things like that before getting into education. And people always connect creativity to those things that we do, that artistic expression, musical, culinary. And probably about I've been in education for 11 years now, second career, but first love. I remember probably about my third year teaching, I became a director of ed tech. And through different program developments and just things we were trying to do to really expand the value for students, we had this meeting and I came up with this solution. Honestly, I wish I remembered what it was. Someone said, that was amazing that you could just kind of hear what people said and you like put it all together and came up with a solution. I said, well, that's what creativity is all about. And she's like, I'm not creative. I can't draw. I can't do anything like that. I was like, that's not creativity. That put me on a mission to really figure out what were the principles of creativity that could lead to those expressions, but also other expressions: creativity in leadership, creativity in event planning, creativity in creating amazing live streams like you do, in addition to many other ways that you are creative. There's so many ways that we can be creative, and that's really been my mission, and especially with teens. I've been now at a high school. I taught high school years ago, but I've been at this high school for 3 years. I'm director of innovation. I run our entrepreneurship incubator, and I actually just recently launched that incubator as a startup called Double Up, that's really focused on bringing out that creative and entrepreneurial energy so that all students can have an opportunity to really create amazing things in the world.
Love it. I love it. You have the coolest job. I love seeing what you put out there too. And Michael, I really appreciate your message. I know that Dave talks about this in Teach Like a Pirate too, when one of his colleagues was like, basically telling him that he was creative and she wasn't, and how it must be so easy for him just because he's naturally creative. But I think the truth is we're all creative in just unique ways. And I know that is your mission, that is your passion, that is something you're constantly sharing, at least at the times that I've gotten to hear you speak, where you just talk about What is it? Where is your creative gene? Like, let's find that and let's channel your energy in that place, because that's where you can produce stuff for others and really just make a difference, serve your purpose, right, in this world. And so I really appreciate that about you. And I love the way you do it so eloquently. And same in Educated by Design. I mean, it could be such a big, like such a tough topic, like can I even wrap my brain around this kind of topic, but you do it in such a way that it's so approachable and it's so doable, and you're like, oh, I could do this, like this is me, I could see myself in this. And so I'd love for you tonight, on these shows we keep it pretty casual. I told Michael before the show, like we keep it real on this show, but I love it. We just joined together for about 20-ish minutes, and we'd love to just learn something from you. Just share your wisdom. You can share something you've been thinking about, reading about, something that comes from the book, something that's encouraging. I know a lot of us are just missing our face-to-face PDs. And so we offer these PDs on Thursday nights just to kind of give our listeners, our readers, just a little something that they can take, a little nugget that maybe they can use tomorrow, or maybe it's just a little bit of encouragement to help them to keep going. So
yeah, I love it.
The floor is wide open.
Yeah, and it's just cool. First of all, it's cool to see Dave, at least in the comments, and just everybody right now who's here. So thanks everybody for joining us live, and I'm sure many more that will be joining this, archived after the fact. I think that one of the things right now that is really important, because we are still in this pandemic mode, and there's a lot to unpack with that. And without getting into it, because I think we all know it, we all know the challenges and the realities. We've been in it now for almost a year, and there's things about, I know today is March 408th. I still have not left March of last year, really. But there are things that this pandemic has really exposed in education. And I think that the core piece right now is a disengagement that everyone has to acknowledge. Because the same people that are saying that young people are not able to sit on a Zoom class for 6 hours a day, could totally stream for 6 hours a day on Twitch on a Saturday without any problem whatsoever.
It's true.
Or watch 6 hours of a Netflix series without blinking an eye. But let's be like constructive, creative constructive here. So, you could sit and criticize, and there are plenty of people that are doing that. And I'm actually really trying to be careful these days about how I provide value. And while there is a value in being critical, there's no shortage of that. So, I'm trying to move with what can we do? What can we act? And one of the things that I think is really interesting right now is I'm in kind of two different worlds right now, and I love it. It's always kind of been that way, but it's more and more these days. There's the education world, there is the startup, the tech world, and I'm really, really focused right now on especially Gen Z, but I can't forget Gen Alpha, which really that basically runs the gamut generationally for K-12. But I'm really focused on Gen Z. Is what are the skills that they need to really thrive in the future of work? And when I talk to startup founders and different people in the tech space, like, oh, you're launching a startup, and it's going to take you 5 years to scale that. Who are your employees in 5 years? Who are those people? Oh, those are the juniors and seniors of today. So what skills do they need? And it's funny because a lot of the times we say, oh, we need to teach to the real world. We need to, figure out how to connect things. But when I go into the real world, that place, that magical place, and I talk to people, I'm super obsessed, tangent mode, sorry, my little bit of ADD. I'm obsessed right now with Clubhouse. That app is like fire. Are you on Clubhouse?
I've been invited twice. And so Becky Keene, if you're watching this on the playback, she just texted me this morning, like, have you gotten on Clubhouse? I've sent you the invite. Here it is again. I haven't done it yet. So
you got to get in on it. You got to get in on it. Anyway, why do I love it? I love it because it's connecting people to things that we all care about. And other social media platforms are very siloed right now. And I'm connecting with people on the topic of education, people that care deeply about the success of teachers, the success of young people, and they're in all different types of industries. But I speak to them. I'm like, what do we need to do? And it's funny because it goes back over and over again to these core literacies that everyone in education agrees. Strong communication skills, strong writing skills, strong research skills, being able to analyze and make sense of information and communicate it and make decisions based on that. So it's yes, STEAM and maker spaces and technical skills. Yeah, for sure. You know what? Like you got to be technical to be a software developer. But how do you interact with people? How do you work with people? How do you send an email? How do you create an elevator pitch? And that's what I think I'm like super thrilled and excited about. And I spent the summer, and I don't know how we'll do this live, but I'll somehow, like, I can get those links later to you and to the community. I worked with Adobe over the summer to create these standalone lessons that really took those core literacies that like every humanities teacher, every math teacher, like we're going to agree that like students need to learn the distance formula. Question is, how are they going to learn it? How can they present their information? So by designing these little resources, literally standalone, ready to go, they can literally take the lesson. It's got a student-facing, teacher-facing version. It scopes out the entire sequence of the learning process and how they present. And really tied into those literacies and to the world, but still hit on those things that we need our students to learn, to be prepared, to be ready. Yeah. And I know it's a little bit controversial, but the canon of literature needs to be disrupted a little bit. I'm not saying ditch Hamlet altogether, but we got to come up with some variety of ways that we are supporting our young people in their love of writing, their love of communicating, their love of expressing, their love of reading, and really building those strengths. So that's what I've been obsessed with over the past year for sure, but even longer.
I love it. And I there's so much value in that. And by the way, the comments, you can drop those links in the comments after this. So if you're thinking, oh my goodness, yes, I need to see that, which I'm thinking that right now. Don't worry, Michael can drop them over in the comments. He can't comment really from where he's at right now. I know it's kind of stinks, but he can drop them in after the show, or we can put them up above the show too. But Michael, so I'm intrigued by this. Tell us a little bit about the lessons. Like, I don't know, can you just describe one?
Yeah, so there's one that I really love. It's the power of what. It's this what if kind of question. And it is a really great way for young people to develop their brainstorming muscle. I made 10 lessons, but that lesson, for whatever, people love that. It's actually one of the most downloaded lessons on the Adobe Exchange. And I made an Adobe video, Spark video example, and it basically runs through how students can use this what if formula, like wild things, like what if we lived underwater? Like things that they're crazy. They're not meant to even be practical. And you have the students build this curiosity, build this communication around that. And then it really sets the tone for a lot more student agency and empowerment when they're looking to explore and share potential ideas that could be used in classroom projects, where you're giving them a chance to really think about what's possible when I'm building my writing skills, things that I read, how can I present things, how can I collaborate with my peers? They're not used to this process, and they don't have self-confidence. I mean, even at like the high school level, I have students that'll come to me privately and say, look, I cannot share publicly because my friends they'll make fun of me. I was like, I don't understand. These are your friends. You hang out with them every single day at lunch. I see you on the weekends because we all live in like the same area. Like, yeah, but they're just going to tease me. I was like, so I had to like make sense of this, because for me, like it doesn't make sense. But yeah, there is this sort of competitive nature, or like this sort of experience as a young person of like letting people know what you think, and they need courage. They need to build up that courage and that confidence. And that's really rooted in creativity, because if you think you have a great idea, but you're scared to put it out into the world, you're never going to validate and expand that opportunity.
Yeah, and you really have to get good at putting a lot of ideas out there, because only one out of every like 1,000 really take anyway. I mean, maybe that's a bad estimate, but that's how it is in my
it's pretty spot on. It really is. I mean, when you look at, things like project-based learning, design thinking, where you're like really creating significant time invested opportunities for students to explore, and those are really hard things to do, and not everyone can do it, and it's overwhelming. But the way that those kinds of things come out the first time, it's usually pretty mediocre at best. Sometimes it might outright fail. And as educators, we need to build our own creative courage, because if we have that opportunity to try and experiment, we can always make it better the second time around. The first year that I launched the incubator school, there's no script. There's no student entrepreneurship curriculum that I can buy from, Pearson or Scholastic. And I had to make it up as I went. And I had to pull from different places and speak to people that were kind of already doing it on their own and have had, a couple years of experience. I look back to the first year and where I'm at right now, and it's like students that, had ideas and never got anywhere, to now having students that are actually going to their English teacher and saying, hey, I need to learn how to create a mission statement, but it's so short and concise. I know how to write an essay. I know how to write a lot, but how do I create something that's like an elevator pitch, like literally 30 seconds? I have to convey clear and concise information so that someone else is like, oh, I get that. I'm persuaded by that. I'm into that. So it connects to those core classes that you sometimes think like, well, the teacher has to do it all in their classroom. I know it's hard sometimes to collaborate with colleagues, but I'm constantly pushing my colleagues to collaborate on little pieces of a bigger project so that it offsets the burden. And it's like, okay, so only a couple times a week for 2 weeks, my class will do something like this, but together with all the other classes, these students are outputting something that's meaningful.
I love it. And I think there's so many pieces of that, Michael, that just, transfers into life, right? I mean, I'm thinking about even my job, when you learn, if students have this opportunity to create these or to have these skills fostered in them in the learning setting that they're in every single day, and really just to get a grip on, especially like a mission statement, a big idea. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. You're trying to speak to a crowd. You're trying to start your own business. You're trying to convince your boss that you deserve a different position. It doesn't matter. You need to understand your elevator. You got to have a big idea, and you got to be solid on that. When you go in, you only have a couple of minutes to try to convince them, right? And that goes so far, because afterward, everything you do to design that role, to start your own business, to be a better employee, to speak to a crowd, just filters through that big idea, that filters through that mission statement, right? And if it doesn't, then it doesn't fit. And that's how you start to learn how to problem solve, to weed things out, and what is the key pieces that I actually need for this project to actually work and serve the people that I'm trying to serve with it, or whatever it is, serve its purpose. So I love that. I wish every school could have this mindset. I'm passionate about it as well, not only because I work for an entrepreneur, but also I think it's what our future generation needs to move forward. We always say the jobs they're going to have are not yet created. Well, then let's prepare them for that. And this is what you're talking about.
100%. There's a balance, because there is this approach in education. It's not just education, where it's like, these like wild statistics that 90% of the students right now in education are going to be engaging in jobs that like literally don't exist yet by the time they graduate high school. And like all of those things could be true. and maybe have shown to be true. But one of the things I mean, it's what drove me to write the book, and it's actually, just to be like a little bit transparent, it's what Dave guided me as I was trying to craft like my evergreen story, and not just like an ed tech book or like something that is just important information. And I think it's that the principles that I talk about in the book they're millennia old.
Mm-hmm.
They are things that it doesn't matter what the tech is, it doesn't matter what the process is. There are these core pieces of the mindset, the way that you think, the way that you interface with failure, the way that you integrate empathy as a guiding North Star in your life, both personally and professionally, the role of collaboration, the role of technology as a tool. Just like the hammer was building the houses, and now the 3D printer is building the houses, right? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's about these core skills, these core approaches. And I think that, some of the things that I've been really, really fascinated about, and I just threw into the chat, the private chat, the what if resource, as you were sharing. So I wanted to make sure at least I could get that one, but I'll get some others when I can fully dedicate to the Adobe search. But I listened to a really powerful interview with Jack Ma, who's the CEO of Alibaba, like the Amazon of China, and Elon Musk, about artificial intelligence. And they both have very different views on the threat and opportunity of artificial intelligence. And if you listen to that interview, and if anyone who's listening live or recorded, like if you go Google artificial intelligence, Elon Musk, Jack Ma, there's going to be other examples as well of them talking about it. But one of the things that comes up constantly is the way that we are curious. Mm-hmm. AI is process oriented. It is process driven. It is results driven. Right. It is not curious. Right. Even if it appears as if it is thinking and trying to make sense of things, it is all about getting to that end objective, not letting your mind kind of wander and ponder. And one of the things that that Jack Ma says is you need to train young people to be artists and to sing and to play sports, because sports, has a teamwork element to it. And even in the space, the beautiful space of technology today, that we have esports, right? Yeah. So not everybody is a soccer player. Not everybody wants to be out there physically exerting themselves, but there are other sport opportunities to build community, build connection, build teamwork skills. And it's really important for us to look at, well, what is AI doing? And where is the machine learning and all these technologies evolving? Because if we're not aware of these things, then we are not preparing our students. Because if they don't have this perspective of what makes me uniquely human, it doesn't matter what skills we give them. Robots are going to be better than us at just about everything, except being curious. I'm not like a Matrix doomsday person. I don't think the robots are going to take over. But when you see the Boston Dynamic robots dancing, I don't know if anyone saw that YouTube video. They're literally dancing and doing flips, and it's like Terminator is like in the janitor closet. Like, I'm a little nervous, but but really, it's about what makes us uniquely human. It's that empathy, which is why educators are always going to have a role. Right? Don't tell me, is the DVD, is TV, is radio going to replace educators? You watch, historically, is the internet going to replace educators? No. Educators have an empathy engine that gets a experience of care and concern and thoughtfulness around young people being the best they can be. And no robot, no app is going to do that.
That's right.
Getting off my soapbox.
No. You're on we're on the same one. I think I start Be Real. I think the back of the book even talks about how AI can never replace the realness of an educator, of a human. And that's exactly what I talk about, is like empathy. And I mean, I know what teachers and coaches did for me. They saved me, literally saved me. Not just educationally, but literally saved me. Like, they kept me alive. And so artificial intelligence can't detect all of that because I was a closed book. Like, that was a lot of teachers pulling stuff out of me to try to help me and push me forward, right? Change the trajectory of my future, help me to beat all statistics that were placed against me. I honestly don't think a robot can ever see all that. Like you said, they want to get to the end. It has to get to the end. It has to get to the solution. And there isn't an easy solution when you're dealing with humans. There just isn't. And so I love the idea of staying curious too, because I think that is, and that goes back to your what if lesson. I'm still thinking about what if we could live underwater? What adaptations would we have to have as humans to be able to do that? And then I'm like already like my head is all over the place trying to listen to you and then thinking like, what if we really could? And what if kids could just ponder on that for a little bit and just think about it? I mean, why not? Because it stretches your mind to think in interesting ways. And then you start piecing together knowledge from other. So maybe you learned about adaptations for fish and living creatures under the water. And so you start thinking, okay, which ones could humans take on? And what would that look like, sound like, feel like? That's just so fun to me. I never got to think like that in school. It was always like, fill in the worksheet, fill in the blank, get a check or don't get a check.
Yeah, absolutely.
To foster that in our students today. And I think it's only going to take them so far in the future.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, I just go back, it's crazy to think it was, almost a year ago that we were, both together at METC and, co-presenting, and just like the way that, both our journeys and our approaches to education, like synthesize. We'd never presented together, but we had to use creativity to find the relationships and the connectivity between our work so that we could create that authentic storyline. Like that was creativity. That's like a perfect example of creativity that involved no pencils or paint, right?
So fun. So fun. Yeah, Michael and I got to present. We presented on storytelling. We used digital tools. And yeah, I think I talked a lot about book snaps and storytelling with book snaps. And you did some TikTok and I don't know, all kinds of fun stuff. That was fun.
Yeah, that was super cool.
But there are so many ways to engage our students. And I really feel like Educated by Design, the one thing, I love so many parts about this book. First of all, it's a little square, and that's kind of cool because none of our books are squares. And it has these beautiful illustrations. You are so talented. And I just love your illustrations. But one of the things I love really the most about it is just how, like I said earlier, how approachable, how applicable, everything that's in there. It is truly evergreen. It doesn't matter 20 years from now, we can look at this book and be like, okay, these are still the foundational skills for creativity, for design, for what all people need to embrace and do in order to produce and to fulfill I keep saying fulfill their purpose, but I really kind of think that's what we're here to do. We're not here to just sit around. I mean, we need to create. We need to put stuff out there. We have a lot of unique talents, strengths, abilities. We need to use them. I feel like it's all about embracing all of that and just channeling that energy, pushing forward.
Well, thank you. That's an amazing synopsis. I appreciate always, just that reflection. Because for me, like, it's in my head and I put it out there and I hope it resonates. I hope it's relatable. I tried my best to create something that someone would say, this could be me, I could do this, and not, well, that was a nice story, but I can't do that. That's not for me. That's, the tech rabbi in LA at his school, and I can't. So I really tried to make sure that I wrote for that educator that needs to reveal their own creative confidence, but that like all of us as educators, we are in charge of building the creative confidence of our students.
Yes. And we've got to, and modeling that, like you said, we need to do it ourselves. And then we need to push and encourage those that we serve to do the same thing. And I love it so much. I'm so excited about this conversation, Michael. I feel like people over here are just going off on this what if idea. And then also, I hope that everyone leaves here encouraged that you are creative. you are creative. You are meant to create. And so finding what, maybe you need more encouragement, maybe you need more ideas of how do I embrace this creativity that I have. Educated by Design is the book for you. It is definitely one that will help you, encourage you. I've seen a few people over here, Amy, I think, and Melissa talking about, maybe it was Amy, talking about having the book and actually have read the book and loved it. So get with them. Also, you can click the link above or below this video, wherever you're watching it, and see a free preview of the book. Just check it out. See what you think about it before you even purchase it. And who knows, one of the lucky comments from today, we leave this open till 8 a.m. in the morning for comments, but someone is going to win a free one. And so if you comment by 8 a.m. in the morning on Friday morning, February 5th, you will be entered to win a free one, and someone will be a lucky winner. So we're excited about giving away one of your books, Michael. And, you know, I'm sure everyone is wanting to connect with you. And just in case they aren't connected with you, I see your handles on the screen. Is that where they can reach you at? Can you just tell us where to reach you at all the different places?
Yeah, The Tech Rabbi on every platform, from Twitter to TikTok, everything in between. I'm blessed to have a universal handle. Not everyone is fortunate to have that. So Twitter really, I think, is the space where I'm most active. Besides for Clubhouse, which I'm super nerdy about right now and obsessed with. But yeah, I'd love to stay in touch. You know, my DMs are open on Twitter. You can message me with questions. Grateful. I have a book study resource as well. So if anyone is looking for that, they can message me on Twitter and I'll send you the link.
And your website is?
thetechrabbi.com.
Perfect. There we go. So easy, all the way across the board, the same thing. So we hope that you will connect with Michael. Also, let us know if you do purchase design. I keep saying Design by Education, Educated by Design. Please do comment, share with us on social media, tag us on Twitter. We are definitely very active on Twitter, any of the social medias, and use the hashtag Educated by Design. We'd love to see what you're thinking. We love when others share their thoughts about the work that DBC Inc. is putting out there. So, Michael, thanks for joining us again. Thanks for encouraging us. I feel uplifted, and I feel like a lot of our people over here are also feeling uplifted. Lisa says she needs the hookup. All right, well, you know how to reach him, Lisa. And he did drop the link. We did put the link over in the comment section for the What If resources by Michael. So if you want to click this, I think it's edx.adobe.com/resource, and then all these letters and numbers behind. Yeah. Be sure and I don't want to mess it up online, but be sure and click that over in the comment section. You can check it out. I'll try to drop it up above the video as well. Thanks everyone for joining. Remember, next week, same place, same time, different guest. And Michael, truly an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great to connect.
Bye, everyone.